right, let's get straight to it. This is your host, Harry. I think I might go as a new name. I think for now on, I'm going to use an artist name for now because I feel like we're doing art here. And you know the artist name I'm going to go with.
Yep.
And I'm going to make it stick this time.
No, I was going to say this is like the fourth or fifth try with trying to get this
And
name
we're gonna keep it this time. For now on, I'm going as Dan Soul. That's my name. Dan Soul.
I like that.
And there's a reason behind it, but I'll tell you later because I don't want people to know my government.
They definitely already know it, by the way.
All right, cool. All right, so my last name is Danso.
Okay.
DANSO. But I always try to think, how can I keep my family's name and the things I'm doing? So, and I feel like I'm low-key the soul of my family, I feel like. So I'm Dan Soul.
I love that.
I appreciate that. Rayvon, what's going on, brother?
I'll say 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
It's not bad.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been working inwards nowadays. I did my meditation. I practiced some silence while I was driving today. It felt good. It felt great. It brought me to a good creative space I feel like I needed to be in to do this today. So I felt good. And of course we have a guest today. You guys heard the lovely voice. I know Rayvon sometimes sounds like a girl, but it's not him.
Not this time, at least.
Hi, everybody.
Please introduce yourself, please.
I am BrujaTheVillian, and I am an artist entrepreneur. I've been in the business for over 25 years, and I'm here today to spend some time with you guys.
Wonderful.
Answer some questions.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about a lot of good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Figure out the universe.
Come on, all the chakras and everything, we gotta put them together. You know what I'm saying? So we usually start by talking shit.
Just talking.
Yeah, I love talking shit.
Yo, it's my
I'm
favorite.
a master.
All right, so let's see if we can have a conversation about this then. All right, so sometimes I get bored and I watch YouTube videos.
Okay.
I was actually on LinkedIn, and sometimes I find some videos on LinkedIn. Remember that bee video I found?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I find videos on LinkedIn and stuff like that, and I watch this video, and it had the guy that played Robin in The Dark Knight. His name is something Levitt. Last name. I just looked it up.
I'm gonna say Joseph Gordon, but
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay,
that's him.
Cool.
All right,
Oh,
perfect.
I love him.
Yes. So he did a TED Talk.
Huge fan.
He did a TED Talk, and he was talking about the difference between paying attention and wanting attention, and how creatives go through a weird space because everybody wants to be seen, but the more you want to be seen, kind of the less it actually happens. Because as an artist, you should be mainly paying attention to whatever your craft is, and then let the universe do what it do. And then he talked about when you're a creative, you get to your kind of most focused state, and it's a state called flow. So then I got bored again, and I watched another video about flow because I was like, all right, what the hell is this flow thing? And it's like the most perfect form of concentration. Like most people who like basketball players go into flow when they're like going crazy. Artists go into flow when they're at their most creative state. It's just a state of concentration. So then I'm like, damn, I need to get to that level. And the first person I thought about was Kyrie Irving when I watched this video. Coincidentally enough, Kyrie scored 60 yesterday.
60.
On the same day I watched this random ass video.
Wow.
So I just started thinking, I'm like, damn, shit just happens and you gotta just kind of take it in. Can't really look for answers. You kind of just have to focus on what's in front of you, and then like things will happen. Because I'm like, there's no way I'm thinking about this dude and then he just dropped 60. Because when you like, I don't know if you watch basketball like that, but when I watch him play, I'm like, there's no way this dude is not as concentrated as possible, because he does some stuff that it's like he can't accidentally do these things. These are just happening, and it literally looks like he's flowing through the whole court when he's doing these things.
I briefly spoke about him on the last episode we did, where I was like, Kyrie Irving is a fucking master with the basketball, bro. Like,
it's insane.
At all times, he looks just like he's in his element in a game.
And then when he does like his press conferences, he kind of looks like he got in tune with his he has some Native American in him. Okay. So Native Indian. So he got in tune with that. And a lot of people think that he's a weirder guy in the NBA, but I believe, and I'll go with this nickname for now on. Whenever I talk about Kyrie Irving, his name is Flo to me because that's what he does. He's at the most concentrated state he can be in, and as an artist, I want to bring it to you. Do you feel like you're in that state when you're doing your art?
Definitely. I'm always in that state of mind.
Okay.
I don't think there are many mistakes when you're working on your craft. Everything's a learning process. So if you do feel like you end up making a mistake, for me, it's really important that you process that error, because at that moment you're learning something. And what you actually did is you developed your skill, because you feel like you messed up. But what you actually did is you didn't create an error, you developed a skill. So now you know better, you know how to make the next move. That's how I feel about visual artwork.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, when you do make mistakes, it's just part of the process, and it was meant to happen so you can learn and move forward. So I guess that's a perfect way of saying it. I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's how everyone should do everything.
Yeah.
It's really important. Like, even when you're going through it, a lot of people try to fight the pain, but the truth is that you need to let the pain run through you.
Yeah.
You have to. If you keep holding it in, you're just going to be stuck in the same place, and therefore you're not going to learn anything, and you won't develop another skill. So it's important for you to just let things run through you.
Well, I think it's funny because I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, you would make a mistake, your parents are on your back. You know what I'm saying? You doing the homework, you read the wrong word, you get the wrong answer right, you're like, damn, I'm about to get in trouble, I'm like losing it. So now you're like afraid to make mistakes at this point. Mm-hmm. Where if you just let me go through the process, I would still get to that same conclusion regardless. But I will definitely learn a better lesson instead of having someone on my back with a belt like, yo, I'm about to whoop your ass if you get this wrong. And I feel like that's like a misconception a lot of people, especially like minorities go through to be like, you got to be perfect, where it's like, let it be, and then things will happen as well. So
Yeah, well, we have a lot of generational curses, people of color.
yeah.
We were taught from the beginning of time that whenever we make a mistake, we should get beaten for it, And that isn't true. What we have to do now, especially this generation, is just like stop doing exactly what your parents told you to do, because there's actually a better way. And I honestly believe that like my generation before me, they wanted better. So they were harder and harder on the next generation because they wanted you to be better than them. So many times, like when a parent is disappointed in their child, I feel like they think it's a reflection of themselves, because they're going back to their own childhood and all the mistakes they made, and they don't want their kids making that same mistake. But what ends up happening many times is that your child is going to end up making that mistake.
Yeah.
And then they have to learn on their own how to work through it. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from when you say this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the intro right there. You know what I'm saying? We just getting started. We're gonna talk about many more things.
Talk about flow. Just get into a flow.
Did you want to hear the music?
I would like to hear the music.
Okay,
The
let's
music
listen to
always
some
gets
music.
me.
Play some music.
I'm ready for this.
Oh, thank
Tato,
you.
let's go.
All right, so if you guys listened to a couple episodes ago, we know that we love Jill Scott,
Yes.
especially Rayvon.
Yo, I love Jill
Loves
Scott.
it.
How many
Oh my-
times you seen Jill Scott?
Only in my dreams. Like,
I've seen
you
her
seen her real
several
life, though?
times. She does not need a microphone. Talk about projecting. That woman can blow. Like, she does not. She can hit any range.
yeah, I'm very jealous of you. Actually.
Phenomenal.
Have you seen her like recently at all by any chance?
Not recently.
Yeah.
When COVID hit, it,
True.
changed a lot of things. But
Yeah.
even before COVID hit, I was living a COVID lifestyle anyway. So I hadn't been in a show for a minute. The last show I went to was the Sarface show.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but we about to listen to some Jill Scott.
Yeah, come on now.
I like me some Jill Scott.
So
Let's go.
I love Griselda. For those who know who Griselda is, I actually love those guys. Those are like, they're just great. I know you don't listen to them right now because you're kind of like,
No, I was waiting for you to say it. You
Yeah,
was
it's
looking at
okay,
me.
it's
I was
all
waiting
good.
for you to say something.
their music is different, bro. They're from Buffalo. I will say this every episode if I have to. They are fucking great. Now, when I saw that Jill Scott was featured on it, you need to understand the genre of what they do before I go into this. They're gangster rappers.
Like hardcore, like what's
Like amazing, like tell you great stories about like jail times and selling weight and fish scales, and then they have sports references, great sports references, like NBA references, like any sport you could think of. They're pulling it out the hat. So when I heard this song with Jill Scott and Conway the Machine, I'm like, good Lord, I know Rayvon's gonna love this shit.
You know I like me some Jill Scott.
So let's do it. She said sugar thighs. I gotta stop because they're gonna charge me for playing it. First reactions.
All right, so from what I could hear, she was about to sing too.
She was.
And so something that gets me about Jill Scott that I like about her a lot is her ability to sing and rap. Like a lot of people credit Lauryn Hill for being able to do that very well as well.
Okay.
I think Jill Scott does a phenomenal job of it.
Do you want to hear the part when she's singing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I got you.
We'll just pay for it.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Okay.
And it reminds me of her song, Wanna Be Loved. So Wanna Be Loved by her is one of my favorite songs by her because...
Jill Scott, not her.
No, yeah, Jill Scott.
Okay.
Whoa.
Not the artist.
Yeah,
her,
don't
but
get it
Jill
twisted.
Scott.
Don't get it
Okay,
twisted.
gotcha.
No disrespect to her, but don't get it twisted. So yeah, it's a song called "Wanna Be Loved," and on the song, she sings and raps the same verse at the same time. So you can hear her like singing it and rapping it. So I be in the car singing, and it really feel like, which one am I going to choose? Am I going to rap with her? Or am I going to sing with her? Like at the exact same time.
What song is it?
"Wanna Be Loved."
I'll listen
it
to
sounds
Incredible.
so fucking good.
That's
You know,
fine.
she started off as an interior decorator.
No.
Yeah, she started off as an interior decorator, and she happened to be working in somebody's studio one day, and she was painting the walls, and she just started singing. She talks about it when she does tours. She talks about her career, and I learned that about her at one of her events.
They're like, I don't know what it
She's
is,
phenomenal.
but she's got it. Well, she can sing.
She's
Yeah.
fly too.
Yeah.
Like, imagine having those curves. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Body
yeah.
goals. Body goals for sure.
She is an enigma.
No, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
And to hear that this was like you said this was recent, like this just dropped. I don't think she's dropped a new album since like 2016.
yeah, it's a feature on Conway's new album.
Yeah, and I guess I don't go scouring out for features like that, so it's nice to hear like something fresh and new from her.
Bro, I
And
had to
see that
make
she
sure it was
still got
actually
it.
her when I heard it and I seen the name, but I'm like, wait, hold on.
Make sure it's not like
Like maybe it's not somebody else who also took the name Jill Scott or something. I'm like, on Conway, like you gotta understand. Like I'll play some Conway later.
it's two different worlds.
like this man literally talks like he's been shot in the face. Half of his face is paralyzed.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him?
No.
Yeah,
Bruh, he's really about that life.
That's crazy.
So her being on, I'm like, damn, that's beautiful, man. That's some beautiful music. But yes, we are here to talk to our artist of the day, Bruja. So,
Dímelo.
talk to us. How do you, just tell us how you started. How did you start in general?
Okay, well, I've always been an artist since I was a little girl. My favorite thing to do in the world was definitely to draw pictures. I spent a lot of time alone. We moved around a lot, and I remember I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. We were living in Jersey City, New Jersey, and we were really poor. And my mom used to find like broken crayons, envelopes, napkins, and like give them to me to entertain myself because we didn't always have paper or coloring books, you know. So one day there was absolutely nothing to do. I don't even think we had TV, you know. I remember having a black and white TV, but I just remember this particular day there was nothing going on. And so she had a napkin, and with a pen she drew out a rooster. And so I just kept copying the rooster to make it look like hers. And then the rooster became a cat, and then the cat became a dog, and then the dog became a horse. And then suddenly it was like, oh my God, like, you know, she was just like, you're talented. Let me feed this. Let me encourage her creativity. So most of my life, I didn't have like Barbie dolls or anything like that. I had watercolors, crayons, paper. I remember one year when we first moved to Worcester, we didn't have anything then either. And she went next door and got paper plates because I needed something to draw around. So I'd say that's where it started for me, was at that age, because it was the only thing that saved me. You know, I was bullied a lot growing up. I've experienced a lot of things that most people do not want to experience. And for some reason, I always had art, music, and poetry to get me through whatever it is that I was experiencing at the time.
Word.
That's actually pretty cool. Well, not cool that you use it as an outlet. It's never cool to have to do that, but it's nice to have the outlets. And I mean, you said art, music, and poetry, and to like go through so many different facets of it all is rather impressive, because some people aren't that talented. Like, I'm not talented at all at that kind of stuff.
You say that, but you actually are. You just probably don't see it, but you are talented. Right now, you have a talent. You're doing a phenomenal job of interviewing people every month. So that in itself is a talent, because there's a lot of people that cannot stand in front of a microphone and speak. They start shaking, sweating, they can't do it. But this might be just one of the many talents that you have.
I appreciate that.
You being talented.
No, I try.
Yeah.
So like, I say I'm not talented, and then at the same time I'm like, yo, I'm a jack of all trades. So what do we believe, you know?
I mean, you do a lot of the web design. Shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Look
web
at
design,
that.
but mostly the menu stuff. I was listening to an episode we recorded recently. I realized we kept saying web design, and I was like, yeah, I mainly do the menu. Let me not say I do the
so you
whole
do
website.
menu design.
But like, I work with the website, that's for sure. Oh man, so you mentioned coming to Worcester though. When did you come to Worcester?
I think we came here in 1983. 1983, yeah, seems about right. I was in the 3rd grade, and I had moved here from Jersey City. I used to live right downtown 4th Street, and was really tough area. And so one day my mom just had enough, and so we wanted to move someplace different. We already had family here. So we would go back and forth between Brooklyn, Jersey City, and Worcester. And then finally she decided this is where we're gonna stay. So we moved to Piedmont Street. I don't know if you're familiar with Piedmont Street, but that's where I grew up. It's right downtown Worcester, or close to downtown. And I met my best friend in the whole wide world the same weekend that I moved here. and I was outside, and we were about 9 and 10 years old, I think. And his name is Alvin, and till this day, he's still my best friend. So we've been best friends for over 40 years. And
What's up, Alvin, by the way?
what's up, Al? I love you. So I remember he rode up on this giant 10-speed bike, this silver 10-speed bike, and he was this big. And he comes up to me, he's like, yo, what's up, what's up? He's like, you want to go bike riding? You want to go bike riding? I was like, I can't. He's like, why? I was like, I ain't got no bike. My bike is in New Jersey, is what I told him. So I thought. My mom lied to me. She didn't bring my bike. She sold that, but anyway. So I was like, I can't, like, I don't have a bike. And he's like, okay, when you get a bike, we could go bike riding. So I was like, all right, cool. So I moved here during the summertime. Next thing I know, I go to school, and there he is. Same classroom. So, like, till this day, we're still friends. So, like, that's, like, the best memory I've ever had in this city, was meeting my best friend so many years ago.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Do you have any art dedicated to him?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any art dedicated to him at all?
Wow, good question. I have made art for him,
Okay.
but not necessarily dedicated to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have made artwork for him. He's an enthusiast. He loves art.
Okay.
He's a collector.
Oh, word.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. And he's a real one for like still being friends with you despite no bike. He was like, nah, we'll be friends when you get a bike for sure.
Yeah,
no worries.
yeah, for sure. But like, it's crazy because like we fight, and there were times where, like, I've had enough of you. Don't ever talk to me again. But lies, because I don't know what it is. He's just such a good person that even when I hated myself, he was like, nah, you're good, look, like come through, like I'm coming to pick you up, or, you know, even right after a fight. And if months went by and we weren't talking, it was just a matter of time that he would just show up and be like, what's up, look, let's go get some dinner.
Well, that's a good friend.
Yeah, facts.
That's a good friend.
Yeah.
So I assume you two just toured through the city of Worcester after that.
I was his wingman for a while, you know? So, like,
He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy.
Yeah. Facts. He is a smart guy.
Never
But,
miss
yeah.
another man.
Yeah, hi. So tell me this. You're here now. How has the journey as an artist been? I know, like, my family's from Ghana. Me trying to be an artist to make money, not the most happiest. They wouldn't be the happiest to see that. So how has the journey been for you? And then, you know.
It's definitely been really difficult. It's hard. It's absolute dedication to yourself. Okay, so like when I first started out, it was about 25 years ago, and I felt like I had gone through a divorce, and I felt like I was blocked from working with other artists because my ex was also an artist, but he was a musician. So I couldn't find the right people to connect with in this area because I kept hitting walls. Because, you know, when you're with somebody for a really long time, your friends are stuck and they don't know who to be friends with. They're like, should I side with her? Should I side with him? I don't know what to do. So what I decided to do is that instead of putting our friends in a situation like that, I decided to take my career and work somewhere else. So my career, my professional career as an artist did not start here in Worcester. My very first professional gallery show was actually Times Square in New York. And soon after that, I ended up meeting a band called Project Move. They're from Boston. And we were still very young when we met. We were still in our 20s. And they invited me out to showcase my work while they performed. And that just opened more doors for me. So I ended up meeting another artist and another artist and another artist. But the thing that I found out while discovering these people is that my thing was, first I needed to support them and show them that I love what they do. So for me, it wasn't for them to get to know my work. or get to know me, my thing was I need to support you because you are an artist, and I want to be there for your movement, whether it's music, poetry, modeling, fashion, whatever it is. I ended up meeting a lot of people this way. And what ended up happening is that then their friends were like, hey, I need you to meet this person. You know, I want to introduce you to this homegirl from Worcester. So, you know, and it's a struggle because there are times when you're not selling, there are times when there aren't any shows, but if you keep working towards the process, like, you will be successful. It's just a matter of staying consistent, you know, and don't betray your friends. Be real.
It's a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact.
People you need the most.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a crazy story because, I mean, through the whole struggle, like, I mean, people, I always recommend don't mix work and relationships. Mm-hmm. Granted, you're married, so that person's invested in whatever you're doing, and you're invested in whatever they're doing. I mean, shit. I mean, relationship-wise, how is that for you getting past that in general?
Well, to this day, I still give him props. You know, he's the father of my kids, so, like, I do not go out of my way to disrespect him.
Yeah, 100%.
There were, like, many relationships when they break up, there is conflict, there is disrespect and all that.
100%.
But after a while, like, I just started seeing things differently, you know. So I still have genuine love for him. We just can't be together, you know. And he probably feels the same way about me. I don't know. But I know that he's not out here trying to destroy my life,
that's
you know. But there was a point in my career where things got really, really bad, and I stopped working for a couple of years, and it almost destroyed me. So I just, you know, it's important to support people, especially women of color. It's really important.
Happy Women's Month, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course.
On behalf of me and all the ladies out there.
We love you.
So it's really important. There was a time period where I thought that that the experience that I had was my fault. I blamed my artwork. I thought if I didn't become so popular, if people didn't like my work so much, I would have never attracted these other entities, and this horrible thing would have never happened. But then that's when I decided to let the pain run through me. And so then I decided to come back. But I came back with help because I had members of my community that were out seeking me and asking me where I've been, and they wanted me to work with them. So I decided to come back to the community, but have a new identity. Because at the height of my career, especially having a last name like Perez, what I was doing was unheard of. Because when you want to get your artwork in an art gallery or museums, normally you get on a waiting list. You have to know people that work there so they can help you get in. And even then, it could take up to 3 years for you to get an exhibit at a gallery or an art museum. My work was at the point that I had gotten so popular that I had gallerists calling me. And I thought, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, and I'm, you know, my last name's Perez, right? Like, are you sure you got the right person? They're like, yeah. So, like, I actually had a tour set up where I was going to travel from here in Massachusetts down to Miami and then across to California. Like, I had that many gallerists calling me, asking me to bring them my work. And then I met the wrong person, and I almost lost my life. So if it wasn't for my community, my art community, my poetry community, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now talking to you. So I just think it's really important that, like, to tell people that no matter how bad things get, you have a future. You know, you definitely have a future. You can find your way out of it. And I know that it seems like, no, it's impossible. There's no way. And the truth is that for a lot of people, it might seem like it is impossible. For me, it felt completely impossible. I didn't think I was ever going to come back. But the thing is that we're always in a hurry. We want to heal. We want to hurry up and we want to go. But it doesn't work that way. It could take you 3 months to heal. It could take other people 3 years. And for me, it took me a few years to heal from what it is that I experienced. So when I came back, I decided I needed a new identity. And I kept coming up with different aliases, but nothing fit. And then, but I used to have one alias that I used back when I used to be the artist formerly known as, and that was Taino Witch, right? So I thought, you know, I'm a witch. How can I become this entity? How can I get people to call me this, right? And witch in Spanish is bruja. So I was like, perfect. But then I was just like, I need something more. So I was like going by Smokey Bruja, but for me, Smokey Bruja is more of a brand, not necessarily my name, not the person that I am. And then I was listening to the Madvillain album, and I heard a verse, and I was just like, that's it, that's who I am, the villain. And it just made sense because when you think about where women are in society and men, it always seems like that when a man does something and it's some kind of sacrifice involved, he's either called your savior or a martyr. But either way, he's still looked at like a hero.
Sacrifice for you.
Exactly. But when a woman does something, she's a bitch, she's a hoe, she's a witch. So what do they do to the witches? They drag them and they tie them to a stake and they set them on fire. But what they don't realize is that what they've actually done is they've destroyed a healer. So when you destroy a healer, what comes from that is their true magic, and that's like, you know, your witchy powers. So that for me is why I became Bruja the Villain, because I felt that way. And if you think about it this way, the story about Jesus when he was crucified, it's the same story. He had a message, he was a healer, but there were a group of people who didn't like him. So what did they do? They dragged him, nailed him to a stake, and then killed him in the end, right? Same story that happens over and over again to women that are referred to as witches. They were the healer, and the one time they made a mistake, that was it. That's all she wrote. She's now dead to all of us. But I decided to come back from that dark space. And so, before you now, Bruja the Villain.
Let's give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
You already know that. Come on now. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Definitely actually pretty interesting to hear that you've had a long journey.
Yeah.
You don't look, I'm not going to say old, but when you say 25 years, I'm not even 25 years old. So
Wow.
like, yeah, wow. But I really like how you're like, how do I say, taking the power with the word bruja, and like kind of changing it and being like, yeah, I'm a witch. Like, this is a rebirth. This is something new. So, and I actually wanted to ask you about how you came across your name, and I actually really like your answer. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah. You know, it's just about me taking my power back, because it was definitely taken away from me, you know? Like, I said no, but for some reason, their response was like, no, yes. I don't care if you said no. I'm saying yes. So, like, I felt like my words, everything about me was just completely ripped away. So, like, the day after the incident, I was a completely different person. I don't know how to explain it, but I changed. And I kept trying to hide the change by still being involved with the community. But the truth is that anybody that I met during that time and after, they didn't know who I was, because my personality, it just made it a complete 180. And I used to go out of my way to be really sweet to people, help them out, but now things are very different. Now it's more like we definitely need to protect ourselves, especially women of color. We have to protect ourselves, because so many times we're told, you know, this is your place, this is what you have to do, these are your responsibilities. But the truth is, we have the power to do anything. If I wanted to be a soldier, I could be a soldier. If I want to be a doctor, I could be a doctor. If I want to be a full-time artist, I could do that. You know, I know women that could bench press 300 pounds, but I also don't know men that can bench press 300 pounds. So like, where is, impressive.
No, I was raising my hand. I can't.
I was
Oh,
about
you
to say,
can't?
you never in the job. I'm about to say.
Well, I mean, I probably said it backwards, but like, you know,
Yeah.
if a man could be a chef, a caretaker, a full-time dad, why is it that when a woman wants to be a construction worker, a police officer, whatever, they're almost
Laughed at,
yeah,
treated like a joke. straight up.
exactly, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It does. I mean, I think we're all the same. My friends joke around and they call me half boy every now and then, because I really am. I feel like I'm both. I'm a tomboy, you know, at heart. But growing up, I enjoyed both things. I loved to go fishing. I loved to go digging for worms. I loved riding my bike, you know. But at the same time, I really loved that little blue dress I used to wear all the time. You know, like, I feel like people need to stop putting us in boxes.
Within confines, yeah.
Yeah. Because the truth is, whatever I can do, you can do. And whatever you can do, I can probably do too. You know?
So, quick question. So, do you think that, you know, it's National Women's Month, of course, and, you know, us as men, I feel like it's important for us to really have a conversation, understand how we can protect women at all costs, you know, and do what we can do. So, is that what you think we need to do? Just the more the respect, or is there other things you think we can do to, you know, make sure
I
we're
think
protecting you guys?
research is really important. I think sitting down and talking to people who have had different experiences is really important. It's good to learn from each other. You can't necessarily understand the experience just from reading it from a book. You'd have to hear it from a person. So I think a lot of conversations need to be had. And even if it turns into an argument, it's okay if it turns into an argument. The discussion is what's really important. Expressing how you feel is really important. I think the same thing for men. Like, I am tired of people saying, and I've felt this way for at least 20 years. I am tired of people saying that men shouldn't cry, men shouldn't do this, men shouldn't do the other thing, they shouldn't be soft. I've seen grown men cry. And when the first time I saw a grown-ass man cry, I was probably 20 years old, because it was hidden from me for so long, because none of the men in my family, they couldn't show you weakness. They were tough all the time, you know? But I remember the first time I saw a grown man cry, and I was just like, wow, men have feelings. How dare anyone say that men don't have feelings? That's like saying you guys aren't human. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I never do the male bashing thing. You know, you ever see memes online where it's like men be like or women be like? I hate that. I don't do that. This just, you know.
Mainly because they're like stupid. But like, yeah, like you said, like, men don't cry. Like, what? Men cry? Yeah, stupid. Like, you ever like, what? Men cry all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but
No, they do. There's
like you
somebody
said,
out there crying right now.
It's the fact that they want to hide it and like mask it and show that they're strong all the time, and like, it's like a fear of showing weakness, which, I mean, kind of like you said earlier, just goes back to like generations and generations of stuff where like it's passed down to you that like as a man you don't show weakness, you know what I mean? Like, you always have to, got to be up and on your shit, and that's not really the case, you know what I mean? At least not all the time for men. And for a lot of men, they feel like they're going to come off as weaker, especially even to women and not just other men, because it's like, I'm supposed to be this woman's like protector, and here I am showing her weakness, you know what I mean? If you cry in front of another guy, sometimes it's just, I'm crying in front of him, he's just going to call me a name or whatever, and that it is what it is. Crying in front of women comes off, makes you look a little bit weaker to some men, just because it's like, I'm supposed to protect this woman, and now I look like I'm the weakling to her.
And to some women think that too. Some
yeah.
women look
Yes,
at them like, God.
because they're programmed to think that, you know,
Well, it's annoying because then when you have the back and forth of like, let's say you're a guy that like, shit, I cry sometimes. The hell, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm a guy that cries. If my girl was a girl who was like, guys that cry are unattractive or that's weird. Guys shouldn't do that. Like, all right, like we wouldn't be together. Like, there's the thoughts from like both sides of like women being like guys shouldn't cry, so guys don't cry, and then there's the thoughts that men have about women, which like we haven't even touched on yet. I don't even want to say anything because like I'm a guy and I'm not trying to say I have any stupid thoughts, but like it's just negative thoughts from both sides that more or less contradict each other, and it's very, very annoying, and it doesn't make for much progression. You know what I mean?
I've never even thought that crying was like a weak thing. I just also, I don't cry in front of people. Like I do sometimes. Like I don't mind crying. Like shit, my grandfather died. I cried with my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, also I'm just like, I'll just cry in my car by myself if I have to.
But that's the thing, though, is that
if I have to,
women do the same thing.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend. She never cries. The girl never cries, and I've known her for over 20 years, and she never cries.
That's crazy.
She's just that, that's her setting. That's, her personality. She has shed tears, but it would have to be something that really affected her for the tears to really come out. And the truth is that maybe she does cry more, but we wouldn't know that because she probably does the same thing. Yeah. She'll probably hide in the garage and cry, or she'll go in the car. I've cried in the car.
Yeah. People are so scared to show their emotions. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm scared. Like, I wouldn't want to cry right here, right now. But, like, yeah, crying in the car, crying by yourself, for sure. And I just feel like we all do that. Yeah. And no one will let admit it, but we all do that.
It's a normal human
Everyone
emotion.
Needs a good
No, it's
cry.
an absolute cleanse. Like you
exactly.
cry, you feel, and weirdly enough, relieved. You're like, all right, whatever, it's done now.
I'm pretty sure. So I had a conversation today with a coworker, and she was talking about like, yeah, when you cry, like hormones get released, and hopefully hopefully I'm believing her and she was right, but like,
I'm pretty sure
you literally like release hormones and like your emotions, and like it's good and healthy for you. Like it's like throwing up. No one wants to do it, but after you feel great.
Right. Yeah. Facts.
All right, so you have this beautiful art here.
Wepa.
Can you please? I kind of want to go piece by piece, so you can kind of explain each of them. Did you have anyone you want to start with?
So we could start with the boxes.
Okay.
So I had a show called The Baggage Claim, and it was my first major show. Actually, no. I did do a B art show with El Salon, which is an art collective here in Worcester. But this particular one was like really major for me. This is from the Baggage Claim show. And the Baggage Claim is it's about emotional baggage. But like, think of it this way, like let's say we lived in a different dimension. And in this world, everyone had to carry a case around them. And inside that case was everything that made you who you are. Parts of your personality, the way that you grew up, everything's in the box. And if someone wanted to be a part of your life, you had to open up the box, show them what was in there, and then that person had to decide whether or not they wanted to carry your weight.
That'll be a fire movie. I'm not gonna lie.
So can I stand up?
Yeah, for sure.
So let's say this is my baggage. Okay? Let's say right now I'm actually carrying two of them, and you have one.
Okay.
Right? So we meet, you see the box, and you tell yourself, you know what? I want to be there for you. I want to be a part of your life.
Oh, let me grab the mic so we can hear you. Hold on.
Oh.
I got you.
You could even put it on the table.
I got you. Yeah.
Okay.
You can put it on the table if you want.
Yeah.
The box if you like.
Well, I want to pass it
over
so you can understand.
100%. But I'll hold that close to you.
Alrighty. So, let's say you decide, okay, I want to be there for you. I want to help you carry your baggage. So you take this from me. But mind you, you already have one of your own. What if my baggage is too heavy for you to carry? But you decided at that moment that you're going to take it. But then I still have this other bag. and then more things happen. So now, not only are you taking on a third bag, but I'm also carrying all of yours. So this was the concept of the show.
Okay.
People being there for you and willing to be there for you, even though you carry around a lot of baggage. So it's like earlier when I was talking about my best friend Alvin, there were moments that we would get into fights, but no matter what, we always made up, always friends. So like this is a perfect representation
Of who you guys are.
exactly. And so that was the baggage claim.
Word. That was beautiful.
No, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, word. All right, now let's get to the second piece and let us know how this one. Actually, I really like this one. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually amazing.
Which one, the green one or the pink one?
The pink one.
Oh, you love the bad bitch?
I love it.
Good. I love her too. She's dope.
Make it easier for you to explain it.
So that is actually from the last exhibit. Actually, I'd say more of an art show because it wasn't at a gallery. It was next door at Electric Haze. And I specifically made that piece for that event because it was, I called it Good News, Bad Reputation. And once again, we go back into the story of the witch and like, how did she go from the healer to being the witch? And a friend of mine, his name is Sucklord. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Sucklord, but he's a toy maker. He lives in New York, Chinatown. And we were talking on the subject of sexual assault and other things. And he put me onto this movie called Belladonna of Sadness. And in Belladonna of Sadness, it is a Japanese animated film, but it's all made in watercolors. It is phenomenal, just phenomenal to watch. And it's the same story. So what happens to her in the very beginning is she gets raped by the devil. But then the devil, after he rapes her, comes to her as a spirit, like an angel, as though he's there to protect her. But he's the one that actually caused her the pain to begin with. And she had pink hair, pink eyes, just beautifully drawn. So I thought, maybe I can make my own depiction of the Belladonna of Sadness. And so we are in the modern day. So instead of being the Belladonna of Sadness, I was just like, bad bitch. Because I'm a bad bitch. And I felt like me and a lot of people, I'm not going to say just women. I know it's Women's Month, but transgender women are women. I need to say that. It's true. And I just felt like I needed to do something to dedicate that part of my life and part of that community on a canvas. And so I came up with the Bad Bitch collection, and she's one of them.
Yeah, I love it. I love the story behind it and everything too.
If you watch the movie, it's phenomenal. I highly recommend watching it. The only thing is that the very beginning is extremely hard to watch.
Okay.
And it's strange because it is an animated film, so you're thinking, like anime.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's very theatrical, very moving, and I actually tried to convince a couple friends to watch it, and they told me that they couldn't even get past the first scene. So the first scene is really tough, but the story is absolutely phenomenal.
Word. I'll definitely check it. I mean, we could talk about it in another episode, so that's not a problem. Yeah, for sure. And then last but not least,
that right there, that particular piece, I started working on that years ago. And it just started off as a drawing. And once I finished the actual sketch, I put it aside because I didn't know what to do with it, It was very different for me because I started off as an acrylic abstract artist. So actually drawing something and then painting it was different for me, especially on a piece of paper, because I usually paint on very large canvases. And so I didn't know what to do with it. Usually when I draw sketches, they just remain a sketch. But this one, for some reason, was always staring at me. It's just always looking at me. And I was just like, I know I have to do something with this, but I don't know what yet. And so when I invoked the whole smoky Bruja vibe, that's when I started working on her. And so to me, she is what the brand is, which is Smoky Bruja, made by BrujaTheVillian. So that's where she comes from. I really dig her. You know, I love the serpent. I love the throne, the plants. It's probably my favorite piece right now.
Okay, I was gonna ask you because I heard that on a show that every parent has a favorite child.
I heard that too.
Do you have a favorite piece besides that one?
A lot of my pieces I adore, and I wouldn't sell them. But after a while, it becomes redundant. So maybe a few years from now, I'll probably sell her.
Okay.
Never know. But right now, she's definitely my favorite piece at home.
Okay. And real quick, where can someone like myself, I'm into art, I love art in general, looking to start collecting in general, just for my own pleasure. Where can people find your art or, contact you to buy your art if you are selling?
I am on Twitter and I am on Instagram under BrujaTheVillian. I'm also on Tumblr. I still have a Tumblr to this day. My daughter put me on years ago. She was like 12, and I still have my Tumblr. Yeah, and so I use Tumblr. I do a lot of research on Tumblr too. There's a lot of phenomenal artists on there that you can talk to very easily, and it's a great place to find inspiration too. But if you're interested in seeing more of my work, I would just say, follow me on social media platforms.
Okay.
Because there's always going to be more to come. I have at least another 35 years of artwork in me, so,
And I noticed on your socials, well, at least on Instagram, that you break it up. Like, you break it up by the year, essentially, when you make your posts. Can I ask why you do that?
I didn't always do that. My IG right now is actually only... Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. My IG right now is actually only a couple years old. I used to have a lot more followers before, especially on Facebook. And when I was going through what I went through, I was told by the police that I had to get rid of all my social media. And I was in complete fear of my life, so I decided to just delete everything. I didn't want people to know who I was anymore. So the person that I was previously, she does not exist. I have a totally different outlook on life and everything. So, but if you are interested in my work, the best bet would be to follow me on social media and find out where I'm going to be next. And I do a number of different things. My career is not just art, visual art. I do a number of different things: music, poetry, modeling. I've even done some directing. So you name it, I've done it.
Do you have a favorite avenue?
Everybody asks me that question, and honestly, I do not. For me, every kind of art
is art.
Yeah. Yeah. Even this podcast thing, for me, this is a form of art, So, I mean, I'm down for anything. Art-wise.
100%. 100%. So we're towards the end of the show. And we tried this last episode, so I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I want to give because you're our second guest ever.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
We're very selective on who we have up here.
Wait, can I just say one thing actually before you get to this?
100%.
Wrap up? I just want to go back to the point you made about supporting the homies. And I just kind of wanted to put a spotlight on that real quick and just making sure that you take care of your support group and tell the people listening or watching whatever, make sure that you also take care of your own support group and the people around you. I oddly enough watched an episode of Bob's Burgers last night, the newest episode of the season, where essentially one of the characters has to like be in a music video.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, you watched it? Okay, well, gee,
Yeah.
all right. You know, that's exactly what I thought of when you're bringing up your story. And like for you, he doesn't want to be in the music video because he's like, yo, this song sucks. But for the girl, it's gonna like make her world if her friend is there to support her. So he has to make the decision to be like, all right, I'm not with it, but this is my friend and I support her and I want to do what's best for her and help her out in every possible way. So he does the music video for her. It's also a PG rated show, so he definitely has to, but he does the music video for her. And I was actually gonna, it's funny that you watched that. But yeah, like it just ties to the point of like support each other. Support each
Definitely.
other, have people's backs. All right, yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to be able to say
No,
that.
100%. I mean,
And to like wrap up on like the whole men and women and like the stigmas of each other of like, you know, men crying and what women and men don't do. Can we just like all cut the shit?
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
can we just drop all these stigmas? You don't need to have all these thoughts about what people should and shouldn't do. I mean, and granted, people have them and all that. But like it shouldn't have to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just want us to like put it out there that like that shit's just got to stop. It shouldn't, because it even feels just weird to talk about and say right now, honestly, which is why my words sound so like muffled right now. But like,
it's life, man.
you know,
Like,
yeah, it's life and it just grinds my gears. Like we need a change with that kind of stuff because
Yeah.
we're all more or less the same. You know what I mean? So like hiding that stuff and just like having stigmas towards stuff. I don't know. I feel like I sound like stupid right
Nah,
now.
you
No,
sound
no.
like- You're making sense.
You are. You
It's
sound
so
like you have a lot of
annoying to me.
knowledge.
You know what I mean? Like it's so annoying. Like, yeah.
Research is important. You know, history is really important. To understand why we behave the way that we do, it's because of the people in power. It's not necessarily because this is how indigenous people were. No, no, no. It's very different than what we thought. Women were very important to the community, even hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. You know, men even wanted to be more like women, like the Egyptians, for example. Like they wore the braided wigs because it was thought that women were remarkable beings because we brought life to earth, you know? And so men felt like they needed to be as strong as the women. So that's where the makeup and the headdresses would come in, you know, because it was really important that they expressed in
embodied
their
that.
culture, yes, that we are actually one. But we're blinded, especially in this country, to think that
We're like enemies to each other.
exactly, and it's not true. And you know, and as far as art goes, if you have an art collective or a community of people that are willing to educate you on different genres of art, go for it. And if you can't find it, look for it. Like my art collective and I, we do a phenomenal job of putting each other onto different artists all the time, different genres of music. And if we don't understand something, we ask questions. That's one thing that I learned is that it's not important to answer the question right or wrong. What's important is the truth. And so that's where you have to go out of your way, do your own research, teach yourself, and try to put yourself in other people's shoes so you can understand the struggle that they're going through. You know, so I'm not coming to you just as a woman of color, or someone from, you know, the LGBTQ community. I'm coming to you from every community. You know, like I feel like I am on both sides of everything, you know, male and female. And I want to change the narrative. I want people to understand that if you're a woman and you love football, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a man and you're a house husband, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's the dream.
I was about to
honestly.
say, that was one
It's
of my
the
dreams as a
dream,
child.
bro.
I always wanted to be a
No,
house
it's
dad.
still the dream, bro. Are you kidding me?
That's why I loved Oprah, because I'm like, she would definitely take care of me.
And it's funny because a lot of women, we've never even had the chance to be the housewife. You know? I know that in my years, I've never been a housewife. I never just stayed home with my kids. The whole time I had to work. That's another problem with society. Why is it that within 3 months of you having a child, you feel forced to go to work? You know why? Because if you don't have a job, you're not going to be able to pay for your baby's formula. And that's something that I struggled with too. Even though I had a man, it was important that I had to go to work because I felt like he couldn't do it alone, or he shouldn't do it alone. So in some ways I felt like, and this makes me feel bad, but I feel like I sacrificed my kids by putting them out there into a daycare or putting them into school probably a year too early, you know, for the sake of us having a roof over our heads. It's just, society is just trash, man. So it's really important that we support each other.
Especially like in that specific case, like I want to say the American workplace is the absolute goddamn worst. Like
Toxic.
I used to work at IKEA, and IKEA is from Sweden, so they still embody a lot of like the Swedish laws and rules. So like maternity leave and paternity leave, like they even had paternity leave at IKEA. I was like, oh shit, word? And it's like for months, and you still get paid. And like to hear that other countries do stuff like that and take care of their people, and then we live here in America, which is supposed to be great or some shit like that. That's what they say. But then you hear stories like this, and you're like, how?
Exactly.
It's
the
broken.
Greatest country on this planet. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well,
sorry.
That's beautiful. I mean, listen. I agree with everything you guys are saying. I'm someone that believes everyone's just themselves. We're here and we just coexist, and there's really no right or wrong. You live the life you feel like is best for you. You live the life that you feel
I
like is
could
best
have
for
lived
you.
a much better life.
But
because of societal problems, I almost lost my life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
we're glad to see that you got it back, and you know what I'm saying, and
Word.
you're taking power back, and we love that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you the chance to talk to the camera right over there. Tell the people, you know, what's the last impression that you want to leave with them about your art, whatever you want to say.
The truth is, I was hoping we were gonna laugh a lot more. I wanted to joke around a lot and talk a whole lot of shit.
We'll bring you back. Don't worry.
But yeah, next time. But for now, just take good care of yourselves. Don't be ashamed of your mistakes, because the truth is you just learned a new skill. So just keep moving. Keep moving. Use that era to empower yourself and empower other people.
That's beautiful. And once again, it's your mother's favorite nephews, for the record.
Blaze.